Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And this is another sort of the Halloween We Never Got version of Halloween 6. Halloween 6 is the gift that keeps on giving. You got the regular movie, you got the producer's cut, you got all the crazy shit that happened with that movie, and there's just so much fun details into how that happened.
It's like when your parents get divorced and you get 2 Christmases.
Fangoria, which is an amazing magazine, and they have this huge, amazing history of all this stuff. And going back through these old articles, it's so fun to do because you find out so much stuff you didn't know. And once again, Fangoria presents us the news story for this article, which is the involvement that you didn't know, maybe you didn't know, that Quentin Tarantino had in Halloween 6, or almost had in Halloween 6. Now again, it goes back to the same thing with all these news stories. If you've heard this before and you already know it, cool, that's great. It's been out there for a while. It's not new news, but some of this stuff I didn't know, and it's just fun to talk about. This article comes from Fangoria, issue number 147, way back in October of 1995, and it details the involvement that Quentin Tarantino almost had with Halloween 6.
Shit.
Immediately following Halloween 5, when you had that confusion of the mess with the man in black stepping off the bus, kicking a puppy, everyone was struggling to find out what to do with Halloween 6. Mustafa Akkad was going through spec scripts, and he came across Quentin Tarantino's scripts for True Romance, one of the greatest movies that's ever been made, and Natural Born Killers, and he liked him a lot. He was looking at having him write Halloween 6. And a lot of the producers in these stories, and in this article itself, Paul Freeman and such came forth and said that this never happened, that Quentin Tarantino never was supposed to have any involvement with the movie.
Fake news.
But Quentin Tarantino himself said it happened.
Suck a fucking dick.
Quentin Tarantino himself said, and this is quote, "They wanted me to write Halloween 6 back when they were first going to make it. It totally would have dealt with that whole open-end thing that Halloween 5 had, but it just never happened."
Man, I would have loved to see what he would have come up with out of his crazy fucking great brain. God, you could just make love to it.
Good Lord.
I would have, the idea, it's Quentin fucking Tarantino with all of his awesome dialogue, all of his quips, all the wittiness that he brings to every role and character and film that he has overall. To have him doing something with Halloween 6, following that shit stain on the undies from Halloween 5, not the worst thing in the world, but still pretty rough, and being able to bring it back, man, goddamn, can you imagine how cool that would have been? I mean, the idea alone, just the fact that he would have got to work with Donald Pleasence in the role of Dr. Loomis with Michael Myers one more time. Like, it would have been Donald Pleasence's last film ever, and it would have been Quentin Tarantino directing him, because I would have loved to just what he would have come up with as far as like dialogue between him and Michael, or just having him and you know, maybe even him, he'd be like, you know what would be really cool is to bring back Bracket right now and kind of start involving the first one and weaving it into the story again, and then having something happen. I don't know, man. And then again having like it'd be Christopher Walken stepping off that bus with those black fucking boot heels. Be like, I came from New York.
I hit a watch in my ass.
I mean, Quentin Tarantino is a master storyteller, and the fact that he would be involved in something like Halloween, which is a great franchise, don't get me wrong at all, and John Carpenter is masterful as well, but just having Quentin Tarantino doing not only a Michael Myers film in '96, but a horror film at the same time, even though Dusk Till Dawn, I get it, and you know, he's done things like that, but this, Grindhouse, but this would be like a pure horror film. Dude, God, I couldn't imagine. Like, it would be like getting Sam Raimi to do like a Friday the 13th movie or something.
And it's insane because depending on where his career goes, and he's not ruled out the option of doing a horror film with his 10th and supposedly final film. But this would have been the time to capture him, and for reasons unknown to anyone, it just didn't work out. But 5 years later, we still don't have a Halloween 6. Dimension has acquired the rights to the Halloween franchise, and Quentin Tarantino's name comes up again. Supposedly, he was going to be maybe an executive producer on Halloween 6 because him and his friends were sitting around talking about making a movie for Dimension, and Halloween 6 came up. Him and another guy were talking, and they decided that their friend Scott Spiegel, who directed Intruder, he directed Dusk Till Dawn 2, Part 2, he directed Hostel 3, he's an actor, and he also wrote Evil Dead 2. He was one of the writers in Evil Dead 2. From Tarantino's mouth, again, he says, when Miramax got Halloween 6, actually they were calling it Halloween 666 at the time, which you guys will remember. I'll put a link down below. We did a script recap of the original script that was Halloween 666, what it was supposed to be at the time. But he says, they asked me and my partner Lawrence Bender who we thought would be a good director for it. So we immediately both said Scotty, meaning Scott Spiegel, the guy I referenced before who did Intruder and whatnot. Once they brought that up, he had to pass the Bob Weinstein test. They screened Intruder for Bob Weinstein and he liked it. And then he sent him on and he's like, okay, now you have to pass the Mustafa Akkad.
Well, goddamn, was it the pre-SAT and now it's the SAT? Son of a bitch.
Like, even, that's the thing about Hollywood too, and you have to have so much respect for all these people, even if they make movies that suck or whatever it is. It's like getting a vision made. It's got to be so frustrating, man, because like, okay, someone says you're going to be the guy that does it, and then you go through this and you go through that, and like you have to go through 100 steps before it actually ends up being you. It's got to be so frustrating,
especially if you have an amazing idea and you have to keep holding that in your back pocket and be like, why don't you fucking see the light? Blinded by the light.
I can't imagine being a writer or director or anything and having your hopes built up and crash down so often in Hollywood. It would be insane. Yeah. But anyways, while all this was going on, Tarantino and Spiegel were tossing around ideas for what Halloween 6 should be. And once again, from Tarantino's lips directly, even though people like Freeman says that this stuff never happened, Tarantino himself said, I think it should have been closer to the first one. I like the fourth one too. I thought they did a good job with it, but I would have liked to see it go pretty much back to the way it was in the original, where it was clever and suspenseful and just scary as hell.
So he was already on the same train as someone like Danny McBride and company, what they were trying to do with the 2018 Halloween.
That's kind of what everybody says, right?
By bringing it back to the original roots. But having someone like Quentin Tarantino step up to the plate and be like, yeah, you know what was really good about Halloween 1 was this, and this, and I want to bring elements of that along with Halloween 4, which he said he enjoyed, and having that his own spin and flavor on something like Halloween 6, and just seeing what he would do with not only the characters of Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis and the Michael Myers character, but also having Jamie Lloyd, and seeing Daniel Harris and what I don't think Quentin Tarantino, because he liked 4, so I think what he would have done is definitely involve the cast that they had in 4 along with the elements of what Carpenter wanted to do in the first one. And I really do believe that you would have had not only just a better movie overall with Halloween 6, but you would have had an involvement with John Carpenter, because I think that Quentin Tarantino is the kind of guy that would be like, you know what, this is your baby, this was your shit, like this was your whole horse. I just want to ride on it a little bit and smack its tail and go a little fast. So I want all the opinions I can get and your advice. And I think that John Carpenter would have come aboard, much like he did with the McBride script.
Yeah.
I think he would have had the respect to go to the Carpenter.
His idea was like, in my mind, I think he means the feel of the movie. You have to continue the story of 5. You have to tell the Man in Black story. You have to do all this shit with it. But the idea of the nuances of it, the feel of it, he wanted to bring back to the first movie, which again, it's what everybody says. Every single time someone makes a Halloween movie, they want to go back to the original, and that's understandable, as you would want to do. But just the fact that Quentin Tarantino is speaking in his words about the Halloween franchise,
and the fact that he was even interested. I mean, he seems genuinely he was interested.
And so you're talking about a guy who got his chops from just watching movies, like constantly watching movies. Like he is the filmmaker's Quintuocho, man. Like, he is the fucking guy.
He's the blood belt Shidoshi.
He knows movies, and I think he would have knocked it out of the anything. If he had his hand in it at all, I think it would have been fucking amazing. And oh my god, I wish this would have happened. But Spiegel ended up meeting with Weinstein. Again, they screened Intruder for him. He passed his test, and then they said you have to pass the Mustafa Akkad test. So we met with Akkad, and he said Akkad seemed like he kind of liked me. And basically, Spiegel said that Akkad told him, okay, we're working with this script, this Halloween 666 script, and we'll let you write a treatment.
It's the devil.
We'll let you write a treatment for it and maybe even direct the film. So that's where it ended at that point. What happened was he came back in, and this is the Halloween 666 script that, again, we did the whole video on. This is the one that had Michael Myers homeless, that had him dealing with virtual reality. No. The script was fucking garbage.
Get out of here with your goddamn bullshits.
Fucking terrible. The original script they were going to go with is Halloween 666. He called Bob Weinstein about the script, and Bob Weinstein was like, hey, look, I got some bad news. Apparently Akkad doesn't like the script, and he doesn't see you as the director for it. And Scott Spiegel said, well, actually, I was kind of relieved because I read this script and it was fucking terrible. And here's what Scott Spiegel had to say, backing up the rumors of what that script actually was. He says, it reminded me of a Friday the 13th movie and presented Michael Myers as a homeless person. It was really unfocused and corny, and I just didn't understand what this homeless element was all about. Talking about the conversation he had with Weinstein, he said, look, we're having trouble with Mustafa. He's not happy with the script and doesn't see you as the director. So by the end of April, I was out of the picture. I didn't know if Quentin was still involved at that point, and I couldn't tell you for sure why he dropped out. I really was relieved. The script that we were going to shoot at the time was going to be hard to overcome, and my feeling was that I didn't need to be the one to make a crummy sequel to what had been a decent series of films.
Quentin Tarantino's not going to hang around forever. Like, he's not that kind of guy, and he's got so many things going on in his brain. I'm sure that he's like, I got a good idea for something, and give me a chance, give me some time, and give me some space, and let me figure this out, and I'll give you something really great. But he's like, if you guys want to go ahead and do this bullshit like what you're doing, then I'm not going to stick around for it.
At this point, he was just going to be an executive producer. And again, it's unknown completely to this point. I would love for someone to ask Tarantino, because you know him, he'll give an honest answer.
Yeah.
What ended up happening and how he got dropped out of that, how he ended up leaving it. The best possible scenario would have been at the very first part of this article when they said, we're going to have this unknown Quentin Tarantino write this movie. Now, I respect what Daniel Farrens did as a fan for the franchise.
Yeah.
And even though they took it and it went crazy and it got all confusing and it got fucked up, I respect what he did. But if Quentin Tarantino had actually gotten the chance to write that script, we're talking about an entire different universe. We're talking about some Avengers Infinity War shit. We're talking about everything that you know about Halloween, completely disregarding and not existing, because I feel like that script would have been so amazing, it would have carried the franchise into a completely different direction. It would have been completely fucking different. Who knows where we would be with Halloween at this point if Quentin Tarantino had once written that script for Halloween 6.
It's kind of like the first time you played Super Mario Brothers 3 and you found out there was a magic whistle that could like go, like you could skip levels. You're like,
yeah, man.
And they would go boom, 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 boom. You're like, oh my god.
And I love Halloween for all of its scars. I love how the lore is so crazy and stuff like that. But oh my god, we almost touched the sky, Jim. We almost had the quintessential fucking, like, oh my god, Quentin Tarantino almost wrote Halloween 6. This is back when nobody knew who Quentin Tarantino was. He could have built his bones off of Halloween 6. And imagine if Halloween 6 was written by Quentin Tarantino, what that movie would have looked like, what that would have done for Halloween. Michael Myers, as big as he fucking is, and Halloween as big as it is, imagine where it would be if that had happened.
I think they would have used the song before it was popular in Dust Till Dawn. Like, it's a dark night.
Down, down, down.
Dude, it would be.
You ever had a row with just?
Let me ask you something, Michael. Have you ever looked at a woman and said, maybe I shouldn't kill her? Maybe I should ask her for a goddamn phone number.
You give her a foot massage?
So you go into the 91st, play around a little bit. Not go up to the tipple right away, Michael. Wait a little bit. Play around on the outside on the steps. Then you get invited to the tipple. And you get the holy relic.
I know. I want to see the Snyder cut too, but I want to see this about 1,000 times fucking more.
Quentin Tarantino was like, give me that bucket of shit, okay? I'm gonna turn it over in my sandbox and use it to create fertilizer and give you a goddamn forest of roses. And like, God, man, we never got it.
He knows movies so fucking well. He picked up on the fact that, unabashedly, in this article, he went straight to Halloween 4. He's like, actually, Halloween 4 was really good. They did a lot of good stuff with that film. I would have wanted to go back to the feel of the first film, but he threw into Halloween 4 because something that's nuanced about Halloween 4 that most people who aren't fans of the franchise, who aren't hardcore fans of Halloween, realize that Halloween 4 had its problems, and it had the shoulder pads and the weird shit and the surprised fucking woo face. But it fucking, like, it had that atmosphere that you cannot deny. It did so many things good, which is why it's one of the best Halloween films, and he acknowledged that, and that is Quentin Tarantino. That guy knows more about fucking movies than anybody who's ever made a goddamn video or article about anything could ever dream to know, and I have no shame in saying that, because it's fucking him. But I would have loved to see this, and it's just so fascinating. It's such a fun part of Halloween lore, even though it never happened, and that sucks asshole.
A big one and juicy one.
It's such a cool story.
Quentin Tarantino,
even though it's old, it's a cool story.
Yeah, and again, the fact, like, I don't want to keep repeating, but again, it's just really fucking cool to me that even a younger Quentin Tarantino that hadn't made his bones yet, Sheriff, in Hollywood would as a fan, be like, yeah, I really am, and I think we all can agree, of all the cool stuff they did with the first one, and that's really where the franchise should be, and that's the thematic themes or the thematic moments that they should keep going and stretching out throughout the series. I gotta say, I appreciate what they did with the fourth one. I mean, you at this point, you're the fourth film in the franchise, and you take it and you move it a level without John Carpenter, and you did a good job.
It's fucking weird, man. Wrap your fucking pumpkin around that shit, because it blows my mind.
Put your dick in it and talk about it later on at the coffee cooler.
Come down below with your all thoughts. We love your fucking faces, and if you guys want more Halloween shit, we'll constantly be talking about horror, constantly be talking about Halloween. It's gonna be a fun fucking time here on the channel, so make sure you subscribe. Click that fucking bell. We love your fucking faces. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in there.
Welcome to the Rock. We got green smoke. We got green smoke. Totally different movies.
Winners fuck the prom queen.
Oh my, they do. They do.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.